Sundar Prabhu, he spoke on 12 yesterday. So then there's a whole lot of verses.
Yeah,
without
from 13
purport.
to 27.
So the next one with the purport is 27.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will read all the intervening verses, and then I will read the verse with the purport after we chant it. So we're going to chant this one, but there's a few verses to read before that. I'll just read the English. Everybody understands English, which is good. So the context is that they've just churned Maharaj Nini's body, and a sun has come out of this mystical churning process. So that's I'm talking about this sun. It says, because he was born in an unusual way, the son was called Janaka. And because he was born from the dead body of his father, he was known as Vaideha. Because he was born from the churning of his father's material body, he was known as Mithila. And because he constructed a city as King Mithila, the city was known as Mithila. O King Pariksit, from Mithila came a son named Udavasu. From Udavasu, Nandivardhana, and from Nandivardhana, Suketu, and from Suketu, Devarata. So these are all great kings, huh? Each one had a huge lifespan and all these things happening and so on. But all we have now is the name. From Devarata came a son, Brihadrata, and from Brihadrata a son named Mahaviri, who became the father of Sudriti. The son of Sudriti was known as Drishtaketu, and from Drishtaketu came Haryashva. From Haryashva came a son named Maru. The son of Maru was Pratipak, and the son of Pratipak was Kritarata. From Kritarata came Devamida, and from Devamida Vishruta, and from Vishruta Mahadriti. From Mahadriti was born a son Kritirata. From Kritirata was born Maharoma. From Maharoma came a son named Swanaroma, and from Swanaroma came Rashvaroma. From Rashvaroma a son named Shiradvaj, also called Janaka. When Shiradvaj was ploughing a field, from the front of his plough, Shira, appeared a daughter named, whose Janaka was ploughing the field, right? Yes, I think this one. A daughter appeared named Sita Devi, who later became the wife of Lord Ramachandra. Thus he was known as Shiradvaj. The son of Shiradvaj was Kushadvaj, and the son of Kushadvaj was King Damadvaj, who had two sons, namely Kritadvaj and Mitadvaj. There's a lot of Dvajas. Dvaj means flag. O Parikshit, the son of Kritadvaj was Ketidvaj, and the son of Mitadvaj was Kandikya. The son of Kritadvaj was expert in spiritual knowledge, and the son of Mitadvaj was expert in Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. Kandika fled in fear of Keshidvaj. The son of Keshidvaj was Banuman. And the son of Banuman was Satyajuna. The son of Satyajuna was named Shuchi, and from Shuchi came Sanadraj. And from Sanadraj came a son named Urjaketu. The son of Urjaketu was Ajah, and the son of Ajah was Purujit. The son of Purujit was Arastanini, and his son was Shrutayu. From Shrutayu begot a son named Supashvaka, and Supashvaka begot Chitrarata. The son of Chitrarata was Shemadi, who became the king of Mithila. The son of Shemadi was Samarata, and his son was Sacharata. The son of Sacharata was Upaguru. The son of Upaguru was Upagupta, a partial expansion of the fire god. 3 more verses. The son of Upagupta was Vashvananta. The son of Vashvananta was Yuyuda. The son of Yuyuda was Shubhasena. Shubhashana. The son of Shubhashana was Shruta. The son of Shruta was Jai, and from there came Vijay. The son of Vijay was Rita. The son of Rita was Shunika, and the son of Shunika was Vitahavya. The son of Vitahavya was Dhriti, and the son of Dhriti was Bahulashva. The son of Bahulashva was Kriti, and his son was Mahabhashi. And this is today's verse. And so we'll chant it, and then we'll do the word for word and the translation purport. Etavai Maitila Rajan Atma Vidya Visharda Yogeshva Prasadena Vandve Mukta Griheshvapi Etiva Maitila Rajan Atma Vidya Visharda Yogeshva Prasadena Vandve Mukta Griheshvapi Eteva Maitila Rajan Atma Vidya Visharda Yogeshva Prasadena Vandve Mukta Griheshvapi
Etevai Vitilarajan Atma Vidya Visarata Yogeshwar Prasadena Vandve Mukta Griheshvapi
Etevai Maitira Rajan Atma Vidya Visharada Yogeshvara Prasadena Vandve Mukta Griheshvapi
Etevai Maitila Rajan Atma Vidya Visharada Yogeshvara Prasadena Vandve Mukta Griheshvapi Etevai Maitila Rajan Atma Vidya Visharada Yogeshvara Prasadena
prasadena
Yogeshvara prasadena
Dvandvai mukta griheshvapi
Dvandvar mukta griheshvapi
Ete,
Ete
all of them,
all of them
by, indeed,
indeed
Maitila,
Maitila
the descendants of Mithila,
descendants of Mithila
Rajan,
Rajan,
O king,
O king
Atmavidya Visharada,
Atmavidya Visharada
expert in spiritual knowledge,
expert in spiritual knowledge
Yogeshwara Prasadena,
Yogeshvara prasadena
by the grace of Yogeshwara,
by the grace of Yogeshvara
the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
the Supreme Personality of Godhead
Krishna,
Krishna
Dvandva Mukta,
Dvandvar mukta
they were all freed
all freed
from the duality
from the duality
of the material world.
of the material world.
Griheshu happy,
Griheshvapi
even those staying at home.
even staying home.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace and Bhagavati. Sukadeva Goswami said, my dear King Parikshit, all the kings of the dynasty of Mithila were completely in knowledge of their spiritual identity. Therefore, even those staying at home, they were liberated from the duality of material existence. Purport. This material world is called Dvaita or duality. The Chaitanya Charitamrita says in Antya-lila 4.176 Dvaita Bhadra Bhadra Jnana Shabho Manudam E Bala E Mandra E Shabha Brahm. In the world of duality, that is to say, in the material world, so-called goodness and badness are both the same. Therefore, in this world, to distinguish between good and bad, happiness and distress, is meaningless, because they are both mental concoction. Manodam. Because everything here is miserable and troublesome. To create an artificial situation and pretend it to be full of happiness is simply illusion. The liberated person, being above the influence of the three modes of material nature, is unaffected by such dualities in all circumstances. He remains Krishna conscious by tolerating the so-called happiness and distress. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 2.14. Matra. Chai Haribol. We have pandits here. Translation. Do you know this verse, Matra Sparshas?
Ça veut dire que
It's very good for New Mayapur.
les joies ou les peines qu'on peut traverser, il faut savoir les tolérer sans en être affecté.
O son, is in English, it's O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharat, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Those who are liberated, being on the transcendental platform of rendering service to the Lord, do not care about so-called happiness and distress. They know that these things are like changing seasons, which are perceivable by contact with the material body. Happiness and distress come and go. Therefore, a pandit, a learned man, is not concerned with them. As it is said, Gatasun agatasum cha nanu so chanti pandita. Anybody know that verse? Bhagavati 2:11. Prabhupada doesn't give the translation, but I can give the translation. It's a really good one. It's the first thing that Krishna says to Arjuna. When Arjuna, he surrenders to Krishna as his guru, but he says, I don't want to fight. He's crying, he's miserable. And then Krishna says this, he says, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. Lament neither for the living, because Arjuna will say, I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. Krishna says, you appear to be learned, but actually what you're doing, you're lamenting. And a wise man does not do this. Anyway, Prabhupada quotes this. Prabhupada quotes this now because he's talking about happiness and distress. And a learned man he knows it's all just something like a passing cloud. It's temporary, it's not. You don't put your consciousness, you don't consider it so serious. The body is the body is dead from the very beginning because it is a lump of matter. It has no feelings of happiness and distress. Because the soul within the body is in the bodily concept of life, he suffers happiness and distress. But these come and go. It is understood herewith that the kings born in the dynasty of Mithila were all liberated persons, unaffected by the so-called happiness and distress of this world. There's a big list of kings that we read here. It's a whole list. There's 14 verses. Maybe not this verse, so the verses before. So there was 13 verses of names of kings. And Prabhupada says here they were all liberated. So they were qualified leaders. You can understand they were all qualified. They were liberated from happiness and distress. That means they weren't on the bodily platform. Yet still they were doing their duty as kings. They were behaving, in the role, following the role of the king. Taking care of the population, the praja. So that's something to contemplate. They weren't just thinking, oh, well, I'm liberated, I can just go and chant Hare Krishna in a cave peacefully. But they did their worldly duty to take care of others. Just briefly say this, but Prabhupada also, Bhagavati devotee, but he spent his whole life energy helping others. So this is a symptom of an advanced soul. His engagement is to help others. He understands that's the most pleasing thing to Krishna, is to make arrangements for others to become spiritually enlightened. Jagat Mataji spends her time taking care of the ladies at the Bhaktivedanta Manor. Very selfless, elevated duties. So many ladies come out of the ashram, well trained and civilized. It's really nice. So, this happiness and distress, winter and summer seasons, and we can see it now that recently we've had a very nice hot summer. We've had 4 months of hot sunshine. And now we're getting the taste of the winter. Like last week, it was really cold. Everybody was shivering. There was no heating in the castle. Everybody was suffering from the distress of the winter. We had the distress of the hot weather and the lack of rain. What do they call it? Sécherage. Sécheresse. And then now we've had the taste of the cold winter. So we see this happiness and distress, and probably most of us can perceive that we're not completely transcendental to it. And we get affected if we're cold, we get affected if we're too hot. It becomes very uncomfortable, the mind becomes disturbed. Is it because we're not liberated yet? So we're having to understand, at least theoretically, what liberation is. Liberation means not being on the bodily platform. We may read the Bhagavad Gita and think, oh yeah, Bhagavad Gita, okay, happiness, distress, winter and summer seasons, yeah, very good. Now what's next? Let's have some Raganuga, Leelas. Let's have something more interesting. We know all this stuff already. But we don't. We don't actually know we're not the body. Because if we knew we were not the body, we wouldn't be troubled by the hot thing. I wouldn't have to put my big thick cardigan on and think, oh, I'm so glad to put the heating on. We're just thinking about higher things. Just the thought process is absorbed in higher things. How to help others, how to... thinking about Krishna's... but we're not on that platform. And Prabhupada quotes this verse, "A wise man does not lament the living and the dead. Gatasams, agatasams, cham. No, nanu sochanti. Nanu so means does not lament. Sochanti is lament, and nanu does not lament. A pandita, the learned man. But we lament, isn't it? This Prabhupada said, it must be a Vedic thing, the saying that he said, Sudra always laments. If you're lamenting, you think, oh, okay, Sudra mode. Oh, why did they do this? Oh, why didn't they do that? Oh, just look, there's no butter for the bread today. Oh.
Yes, but it's unbearable. Who don't complain of that?
Anyway, just pointing out, maybe you are all liberated and you're playing the role of conditioned soul.
Some pastime.
It's pastime, yeah. That's what the Mayavadis say. We are liberated, but we're just pastime. So today is the appearance, I don't know if it's the appearance or disappearance of Madhvacharya. Yeah, it's Ram Vijay also. Yeah, Ram Vijay. And we have Ram Vijay personified here. Mataji. Were you born or initiated on this day? Pourquoi? Pourquoi tu es nommé Ram Vijay?
Oui, j'étais initiée le jour d'installation de Sitaram Lakshman au Brésil, à la ferme de Nova Gokula.
Oui.
C'était l'installation de ce. Il y a eu un grand festival et j'étais initiée.
Et c'est pour ça que tu as donné le nom. Tu as donné le nom. So I was going to read about that, Ram Vijay. It's the... because I like the Ramayana, and the battle between Ravana and Lord Ramachandra was the culmination of the long adventure in the forest with all the monkeys and the big search to find Sita. And then the monkeys had to build a bridge to cross over to Lanka, 800 miles, and then finally they get to Lanka and millions of monkeys are killed. And then one by one all of Ravana's leading men are killed. And then his most dearly beloved son, I can't remember his name.
Indrajit.
Yes, thank you. He was called Indrajit because he that wasn't his original name. He was called Indrajit because he managed to defeat Indra. Even defeated Indra, he became so powerful. He used to do all these Vedic yajnas to get the power, yeah. Before he'd go into battle, he would offer like live goats. He would just take a goat and he'd throw it into the fire, like this. He'd be doing all these offerings to get the power. And he did have a huge amount of power. But when he was finally killed, he was like the best man, the best of all the Rakshasas. Then Ravana himself had to go into battle to fight Ram. And initially, he was fighting, when Ravana came, he was fighting with Ram and Lakshman. Because Ravana was attacking Ram and Lakshman became so incensed that he attacked him also. And then Ravana sent this missile, a spear, it was actually a spear. And he threw it and it went right through Lakshman's body. Lakshman is Balaram. You know we have Krishna and Balaram? So when Krishna is Ram, Balaram is Lakshman. So they're together in this Leela, this pastime. So Lakshman was pinned to the ground by this spear and then Lord Ramachandra pulled out the spear. But Lakshman was like, in the Leela it was appeared that he was going to die. And then Ram was saying, I can't fight, I can't do this. He said, what is the point? What is the point of my life if you die, Lakshman? It's very dramatic. He said, without you, there's no point in me carrying on doing anything, not even rescuing Sita, nothing, if you die. So what they do, they send Hanuman to go and get the herbs, because they have all this amazing medical ability. So they know the herbs that can cure even a severely wounded body. Nowadays, the doctors, they don't know all these things. But originally, the people had this knowledge. So they say to Hanuman, you have to go to the Himalayas and you have to find these herbs. And they give him a name of 4 different herbs to pick. So Hanuman, because he has these fantastic powers, he's able to jump from Lanka thousands of miles to the Himalayas and find the mountain where there's herbs, these special herbs are growing. But he's all in the mode of passion to find them, but he can't find them because there's all these other things growing there. So what he does, he just takes the whole mountain. He just picks up the mountain, carries it, flies with the mountain, brings it to Lanka. Here you are, there's the herbs. Okay, so then they find the herbs and they bring Lakshman back to life. And so then Ravana, Lord Ramachandra can continue fight with Ravana. So fighting goes on for a long time. And when you read it, they describe all these different kinds of weapons. There's weapons that turn like into all these demons will suddenly appear, or have all these different illusions. And like all stones and blood and pus and things pouring from the sky. But you fire the arrow and then with different mantras, different things will happen. And there's a history, there's an explanation of all these different weapons. Anyway, it takes, I don't know, we haven't got so long to read all these things. So I'll just read the end of the story. So this has been going on. They've been fighting. And at one point Ravana got so exhausted they had to take him away, and give him a little rest. Then he came back again, and then they're fighting again. So they've been fighting more or less for days, on and off for days. Sometimes Ravana displayed his 10-headed feature. So this demon, when you have a lot of heads, it means you're powerful. 10 heads. Sometimes he displayed his 10 heads, other times he appeared in his normal persona with only one head. Suddenly Ram severed Ravana's head with an arrow. However, as the severed head fell to the ground, a duplicate miraculously appeared. Ping! Oh. Ram then severed that head, but another replaced it. Again and again, Ram continued to sever Ravana's heads until 100 of Ravana's heads had fallen on the battlefield. All these demon heads, like 100 is a lot. Each time a new head appeared in place of the old one, Ram wondered, with these arrows I have previously killed Maricha, Kara, and Virada, big demons. I pierced 7 mighty trees and slayed the invincible Vali. These arrows have humbled great mountains and agitated the fathomless ocean, very deep ocean. How is it that they are now ineffectual against Ravana? So he's like, what to do with this man? He's got 10 heads, okay. You could cut off 10 heads, but each of them springs a new one. You cut them off. That's a pretty amazing power to have. Ravana got his power by worshipping Lord Shiva. The duel thus continued at a fierce pace. Both combatants obsessed with killing each other. Indeed, several days and nights passed without a gap in the fighting. Finally, when Mataji saw that Ram, Mataji is the one who's Indra's chariot driver, because Ram is riding on using Indra's chariot, so Mataji is the chariot driver. When Mataji saw that Ram was not gaining his desired victory, he inquired, "Why are you fighting only in a defensive manner?" So he's giving him a military advice. Why are you only being defensive? "My lord, are you not aware of your limitless potencies? The hour of doom has now arrived for the king of the Rakshasas. Why do you not employ the divine Brahmastra?" You think, you're the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you've got a Brahmastra, you don't. Because Ram was in the mood of being a human king. He wasn't thinking he was a supreme, because in order to be, a king, you get into the... You'll not be thinking, well, I'm God, I can just fix this all just by, in half a second. He's in the battle and he's, in the whole Leela. And that's Krishna's enjoyment to do that. But anyway, so he's reminded by what Mithila's words, by Mataji's words. Reminded of his ultimate weapon, Ram took up the arrow that Agastya Rishi had formerly given him at the time of their meeting at the Dandakaranya forest. So that's another pastime in the Ramayana. Lord Brahma had personally created this arrow for Indra's use, and later it was presented to Agastya. The feathers of the wonderful arrow were supplied by Garuda. Garuda's the big eagle that carries Lord Vishnu, and presided over by Vayu, who is the wind god. The razor-sharp head was created by the combined energy of the fire god Agni and the sun god Surya. So the fire god and the sun god in the head of the arrow. Mount Meru and Mount Mandara, huge big mountains in the center of the universe. Mount Meru and Mount Mandara contributed their gravity, becoming the arrow's weight, and its shaft was made from a subtle ethereal element. The wonderful Brahmastra arrow was omnipotent and infallible, and its dazzling effulgence rivaled the sun. It was shining like the sun. Empowering the arrow with the required mantras, Ram placed the terrible Brahmastra upon his bowstring. While gazing upon the flaming arrow, the monkeys became filled with delight. it said that there was all the monkeys and all the Rakshasa army, they were all watching. Like they were not fighting anymore, they were all just standing watching. Like it says as if in a painting, they were just standing watching the battle between Ram and Ravana. Everybody was just riveted, watching. As Ram pulled back the bowstring to his ear, the earth began to shudder, and the heavens appeared to be thrown into confusion. At last, when Ram released the Brahmastra, it sped through the air like death itself, striking violently into the chest of the Rakshasa king. Piercing through Ravana's heart like a thunderbolt, the fierce arrow then entered the earth, taking Ravana's sinful life along with it. Then as the wonderful Brahmastra re-entered Ram's quiver, so after it's done its job, it's back in the quiver, because it's a person, yeah? It's a sentient. So Ravana dropped his bow from his hand and vomiting blood, the vomiting blood from his 10 mouths. Disgusting, yeah? Can you imagine blood? These big, ugly heads, all this. He fell down dead upon the ground. Haribo! Hare Krishna, he's dead, finally! Big monster. So that's Ram Vijay when he conquers Ravana. I'll just read a little bit more. It's about the wives that I'm always interested in. The ladies, the female side of all this. Upon seeing this, Ravana's followers raised a tumultuous cry. Alas, alas, what has happened? What has happened? With great ecstasy, the monkey warriors loudly proclaimed Ram's victory and pursued the fleeing Rakshasa army. So when Ravana was dead, the monkeys started chasing the Rakshasas. From the sky, the demigods shouted, "Well done, excellent!" And they covered Ram's chariot with showers of flowers and beat upon celestial drums. The demigods were very happy because he'd been tormenting everybody. With Ravana dead, the rishis and demigods felt blessed relief and peace of mind that they had not enjoyed for a very long time. There's happiness and distress, you see, apparently, here. A gentle, cool, fragrant breeze began to blow, and the sun serenely spread its rays, so that happiness appeared to pervade all directions. Sugriva, Angada, Vibhishan, Lakshman were the first to come. Those are the chiefs in Ram's army. They were first to come and pay homage to Ram. However, when Vibhishan was a brother of the demon, right? Ravana had 3 brothers, but one of them, Vibhishan, realized that Ravana was completely deviated from any kind of proper behavior. So he went over to Ram's side and he took shelter of Ram and he fought on Ram's side. But still, it said when he saw his elder brother, the demon Ravana, dead, even though he'd become a follower of Ram, he said, when he saw him lying dead on the battlefield, he broke down and cried in an outburst of grief. There's the bodily concept of life. He was his brother after all. Meanwhile, the news of Ravana's death spread throughout the inner apartments of the royal palace. All the Ravana's wives came out of the city to the battle. He had thousands. So all the ladies came out. So the ladies weren't fighting. It wasn't gender equality. They didn't have the ladies out there with their bows and arrows. They were all safe in their royal apartments. Anyway, they came out onto the battlefield. Their hair was dishevelled and their ornaments in disarray. The ladies approached the dead body of her husband, wailing loudly. Overcome with unbearable grief, some of the ladies rolled in the dust, while others embraced different parts of Ravana's body, crying out, "Oh my lord, oh my husband!" One of the ladies hung around Ravana's neck, while others clutched at his feet, rubbed his wounded chest, and threw their arms up in despair. Others fainted away, unable to bear the grief. So even he was such a demon, they were completely chased and completely sold out to him. It's hard to understand. You think, well, he's just a demon, I have nothing to do with him. No, it was their dharmic duty, and they became very, very attached to his, in a bodily sense, very attached to him. And Mandodari, his first queen, his favourite queen, she knew. She told him she'd give Sita back. But anyway. And the ladies continued, amidst the sounds of loud wailing, they could be heard lamenting, "Oh, dear husband, by ignoring our good advice, and that of Vibhishan, you have brought about your own destruction." So they were attached. They were being very female, but at the same time they had spiritual intelligence. They knew, they knew that, and he told him, "You shouldn't be doing this." Sometimes a wife is like that. She tells her husband, "You shouldn't be doing this. It's not a good idea." But then she can't stop him, but she might say something. Sita did that also with Ram. There's one point where Ram was killing a lot of animals in the forest. She said, "You shouldn't be killing so many animals in the forest. This is too much killing. Please excuse me for telling you, but I have to say this." So you can say things submissively. Anyway, you have brought about your own destruction. Now that you are dead, we too are vanquished. We are vanquished, yeah. For the wife has no other support than the husband. This is the inevitable end, however, for such a cruel and hard-hearted person like you. Who else would have dared to kidnap Sita and keep her against her will? And then Mandodari speaks. "My lord, oh my master, you epitomize trouble for others, and therefore you were called Ravana." That's what the name means, he who makes others cry. "But now that you are defeated, we are also defeated, for without you, the state of Lanka has become conquered by the enemy. My dear husband, although you were so powerful, you could not stand before Lord Ram. You were too confident of your acquired prowess. Thus you became a great burden on the earth. You could not understand that Lord Vishnu himself had descended upon the earth as Lord Ram to relieve that burden. O Ravana, your sinful passion for Sita has become the cause of the destruction for all the Rakshasas." Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
It's also the appearance-disappearance day of Madhvacharya, as I said. But we should maybe read about that Madhvacharya tonight. That's he's a great, great, great Acharya. This ISKCON, our lineage is that we are coming from Srila Prabhupada, who's in the parampara of the Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya, Sampradaya. So Madhva is Madhva, the Lord Brahma. Brahma is Lord Brahma. But Madhva is Madhvacharya. It is Madhvacharya. He wrote many, many books. We're following that line. The Gaudiya is a little bit expanded on Madhva's teachings, but that's the lineage. Discuss that tonight. It's something about Madhvacharya. Maybe Gopaswami, you want to speak tonight about Madhvacharya? You want to say something? Yeah. Does anybody want to add something? Realizations about happiness and distress?
Yeah, because
Lord Ram.
Actually, Mataji, it's like a small thing. Like the Brahmastra is considered the most powerful weapon in the material world. The real powerful weapon in the entire universe, more than that, is Narayana Astra. That is the weapon of Lord Narayan. And then there is Sudarshan Chakra. And there is no weapon that is more powerful than Sudarshan Chakra in this entire universe. Narayana Astra and Sudarshan Chakra. So this Indrajit, who's the son of Ravan, is very powerful. He has done a lot of tapas, meditation. So he could attract all these weapons. So he used the Narayan Chakra and the Narayan Astra and Sudarshan Chakra on Lakshman. And then the Narayan Astra had absolutely no effect because it just bore down before Lord Lakshman and went back. And the Sudarshan Chakra just circumambulated Lakshman and went back. So if these two weapons come to us, we just bow down and they will not do any harm.
Mm.
Although the most powerful weapons in the universe cannot harm any devotee if you just bow down to the weapon. Jai Shri Ram.
Yes. Yes, that in that sense you could say that the greatest weapon is the Hare Krishna mantra. Because you know, by that we take shelter of Krishna, and by that we have protection. You know, so we don't even need to have like a weapon in that sense. Our weapon is our protection.
That's right. And this entire Ramayana episode, everything they are doing just by the strength of the holy name Ram. For everything they just say Jai Shri Ram, and Hanuman gets strength, everybody gets strength. And they are able to build the ocean, the bridge over the ocean just by writing Ram's name. So just by Ram's name, Jai Shri Ram, Ram, the two syllables Ram, the entire universe is contained in two syllables Ram, and all the strength in the world comes from that. So in Ramayana, you do everything just by the strength of the holy name. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Yes, Jai Shri Ram.
Sriyavadi Ramachandra ki Jai, Pavan Sita Hanuman ki Jai.
Yes. There'll be a big celebration in India today.
Yes. We always chanting like when we want some strength to do something, we always sing Jai Shri Ram, and Ram Ram Ram, and just with that we can. So when I'm cutting vegetables, when I say Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram.
Yeah. It's right. It's the correct culture.
So Ram Vijay means the moment where he killed Ravana?
Yeah, it means the victory. The victory. Yeah, that was a moment of the victory was confirmed. I mean, they were so many Rakshasas. They were gradually, even though they only had monkeys when they were throwing stones, somehow or another they managed to kill all these Rakshasas. But the actual, it's considered that when the king dies, that's the end. Like in the Battle of Kurukshetra, when Duryodhan fell, when Duryodhan's legs were smashed, that was the end of the Kurukshetra battle. So that was always the mark, you know, when it's finished now. Because the kings would actually be in the battle. Nowadays they have wars, but the leaders don't go. You know. So they had Putin, and I don't know the man, don't remember the name of the leader of Ukraine. But if they had them two there fighting, okay, now Putin's dead, it's the end. They don't drag on and on and on and on and on and on. But you have the two leaders, and that's the clash is between their power struggle, yeah? So okay, now one is killed, he takes over the kingdom of the other one, and that's the end. It's a personal, it's decided like that. So yeah, Ram Vijay is when Ram said, okay, Ravana's finished now. That's the end. Anything else? Prabhu, you want to add some thought? No. Hare Krishna. Breakfast Prashadam ki Jai.